Welcome to Business Talk here on Business Tech, and time to talk about what this future world of work is going to look like. Now, at the beginning of last year, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said that we've witnessed over the past year the dawn of a second wave of digital transformation, sweeping every company and every industry. And I think we've often heard phrases around digital transformation, but never have we really lived through it the way we did during the pandemic. And if anything, this wave is gaining momentum, and it's fueled by the continued adoption of things like hybrid work models. And it means people can connect and work from anywhere, anytime, on any device. And it's obviously got implications for businesses who are increasingly seeing the need to use tech to optimize efficiencies, to give empowerment to their employees, and just to drive innovation inside the business. Now, given that, I think for businesses everywhere, technology now acts as more than just an enabler. It's really part of the corporate DNA. So what does this mean in terms of the future of work when it comes to scaling solutions, to giving employees that kind of flexibility? Well, my next guest certainly knows all about that, and I see him nodding away in my introduction. Ricardo Rosa, Microsoft South Africa Enterprise Commercial Director. Ricardo, welcome to the show. Your CEO is obviously very well known, loves his cricket. He said that what we've seen is this new dawn or a second wave of digital transformation sweeping across every company and every industry. What does this mean for businesses?
So thanks, Michael, and thanks for the invitation. Really good to meet with you today. I think what you're seeing is fundamentally businesses are adopting these technologies into their core fiber. So what's technically happening is people no longer think of these as a tool that you have on your side. It becomes like, if you think of it like your phone, maybe a good analogy is your phone. In the past, you used to have a tape recorder, a radio, and now all of this is in one place. And we're seeing a similar kind of I'm using an analogy because it's probably easier to use that because you feel that holistic sense that it's just available and it's there. So the ability to be more efficient is easier because you can now connect with people both in the room or outside the room. You can engage with employees, empower them in a way that allows you to share information, look at what they're doing in trending, understand the implications for that. And also now you can collaborate and co-innovate in a much quicker way, Michael. So I think that's the piece so it's becoming just part of our fiber, so if you think, so to speak. So, and that's just been accelerating in the last years because I think these technologies existed, but they were never really pulled together in the way they have. And I think this COVID era pulled us all into a sense of having to connect, having to belong. And technologies became that kind of the railway line, so to speak, of connecting everyone into that. And it really brought us to life in one piece. So really excited about that generation. But for business, it's really driving that acceleration of productivity, driving efficiency, driving innovation as well. So I think it's a great era for us as businesses to be able to use and have access to these tools.
Yeah, and I like the word convergence because I think that's exactly right as to what we've seen happening. A lot of these technologies existed prior to COVID, but COVID was that accelerant. It almost brought them all together and created that convergence. And when you talk about it being in our DNA, I'm reminded of my very young children, 7 and 4 years old. Technology, they've grown up with it. You know, they're digital natives and they can go onto YouTube, they can operate the smart TV at home, they know the Wi-Fi better than I do. It really is a second language to them. And that's certainly what we're seeing in businesses now. We know that we've often spoken about this acceleration that the pandemic has done for digital transformation journeys, that, you know, businesses are now undergoing this accelerated digital transformation. How has the role of technology changed? And importantly, how are businesses investing in technology given all of this?
And I think because it's becoming more kind of part of their DNA, they're having to make different decisions. So I think they're thinking it in three lenses maybe. Yeah, Michael, probably look at it. Obviously, there's what I call the 1X is they have to buy the infrastructure, the capability, the security, the data, you know, the basic foundation. So that I think will continue to be a trend. But organizations already largely have the tools, you know, so they largely have acquired those tools. So the 1X piece is I have them, I'm in place. Now what does it mean for my business? And we're seeing what I would kind of label the 3X, which is really taking the technology and using it to accelerate business outcomes. How do you take it to deliver something of higher value? So how do you transform your customer engagement process? So it's not the technology, but it's the way in which you're connecting your people, that process, that technology in a way that orchestrates a higher value to your business. So you really are trying to kind of drive the benefits, so to speak, of that technology. But it's more than that. It's actually, you now start to connect multiple ecosystems. So you're starting to say, actually, to service this client, I can now connect them. Let's use a Microsoft example, a Teams, to actually connect to them. I can co-share a product with them. I can virtualize that product with them in a 3D verse or kind of piece of them. So all of these things are now starting to emerge into what I call the 3X, which is the acceleration of value out of this technology, or acceleration of productivity for individuals, or engagement, or kind of more sense of intimacy with them, because you can now connect and more frequently and in a more deliberate way. And then you have this acceleration of innovation, because now you've got this foundation which is solid. So you've got this, call it think of it like a Lego base plate, so to speak. You now can plug these innovation pieces of technologies you have found, but now you can also draw on a kind of any startup or any fintech and plug them into your process. So now you can look at your organizational process as a value chain and say, what technologies could I plug into this value chain which actually exists, will give me that multiplier to create new products, new services, and new ways of doing business. So you're also seeing what I'd call the 10X, which is this innovation at scale. Because now you've got a base plate, so you've got the existing database, you've got the security posture, so you can now share data more openly across, and you can control what you share. You can connect to different ecosystems, and so you start to emerge this platform. So there's whole new kind of universe opening up to of opportunities, which is new products and new markets. And that's powerful. I mean, that really is going to transform the power of organization. And we're seeing that for example, like you're seeing Volkswagen, giving 5 million vehicle owners in data and technology accessibility across that, and all the data is being gathered, shared, and being understood around how the customer drives, how he engages. So all of those pieces now are visible. And the beauty of that is you have now insights around how to better create safety, how to better create insights, or even to service the client in their mobility needs. So you really are seeing this massive shift in terms of using technology in a kind of broader capture or landscape, which actually allows you to then feed back more useful and more constructive messages or services the client needs to actually fulfill that mobility journey or their product journey, or whatever it is. It's like you buying a particular product at a Checkers 60/60, and it's already been able to recommend a substitute product for you. So these things are becoming more and more sophisticated and more powerful for us as individuals, and it's great.
And we see it in banking as well. They're opening their APIs, and Investec had a great example of that recently, allowing particular high net worth clients to now really design what they want from their online banking experience, because you've got these blocks that you can now plug in. It's a sandbox for innovation and creativity, and really exciting. I think we're just at the start of this, wouldn't you say so, Ricardo, in terms of business leaders really understanding the value that lies now in this base plate that's been established.
And I agree, and it actually starts to create the democratization of data. So now you're going to have employees kind of building their own in Power BI, their own insights of the business, so they can accelerate insights and decision quickly. You're going to have employees building automation, which allows you to then automate certain key processes within the business through let's call it Power Automate in our tool set. But I think you're starting to see this democratization of data across the whole organization. So you're creating a massive community of builders, communities of engagers, community of kind of innovators, so to speak. It is really powerful for us. I mean, and it's the next wave of let's say the new employee of the future. He's really empowered with all these tools. He can automate his work. He can draw insight. You can connect to large data sets, both internally and externally. And all of a sudden, he has the ability to help the organization really be empowered to actually take it to the next level. And to your example, even down to your customers, being empowered to actually connect and use some of the tools you have to either connect to an API, through a value chain that they supply in terms of trying to understand what the forex they need in terms of that, or whatever it may be across the value chain that they're doing. All of a sudden, the organization will be enablers for their customers, for the employees, and for themselves ultimately, which is the sum of the power of all of that, Michael. So I think to me, it's probably the most exciting area we could have lived in, but I suspect our parents probably said the same thing. But
the more things change. Well, our parents used to say the more things change, the more things stay the same. I think our children are going to say the more things change, the faster they change in future, because everything does seem to build on the previous change that's come before it. Now, I think the technology is the one thing that we're seeing, but within that, you've also got to have the skills, and we talk about digital literacy. So beyond investing in the tech, what are some of the other shifts that you're seeing in the digital transformation landscape?
So I think the other piece is obviously culture. I mean, obviously you have to be more collaborative. You have to be more growth mindset. You can't be in a fixed mindset and expect to grow in this ever-changing world. So there's a big onus on us as humans to also absorb and kind of adapt to this massive change, Michael. It is quite hard because, as you put it out, there's going to be so much change coming to individuals. We have to allow them to also adapt. And how do we share those lessons of adaptation? Because just like you need to learn the skill of technology, you also need to learn the skill of adaptation, the skill of innovation, the skill. These are the new challenges that I think are going to be with this tech intensity, which is really where organizations are kind of democratizing the capability of people, but also we need to empower those people to actually have the skills, the know-how, and even the language set of transforming themselves as human beings and allowing us to give them that broader capability. And I think that's powerful, but it's also scary. If you now having to change and adapt, not only do you need the technology, but you also need to know how to change your mind around what you're building today in terms of how I did my work. A robot's taken over my work and now it's automated it. What does it mean for me? Well, actually, I could be at a higher level of finding new ways for us to do this business better. So it requires us to innovate, grow. It's very exciting. But I think it's also a challenge we need to also take it as part of the tech intensities. That's why caring for people, taking that sense of belonging and actually really helping them be ready for this transition, the culture piece is as important as the technology piece.
Yeah, it reminds me of a conversation I had with Mteto Nyati, who's the outgoing CEO of Ultron. And when he took over, and they're a big Microsoft partner, you take over a business that he could see was going into this kind of software as a service type space, but had a legacy, had a very kind of industrial enterprise hardware legacy to it. And he had to spend a lot of time in the beginning getting that cultural component right, getaways to lodges, getting the entire team together, just understand firstly where they are, but then how do I bring them along on this journey from a culture perspective, because that is really critical and where things can fall down.
And I mean, it's a great example. I think a great leader, again, demonstrating that helping people take it on, take him on the journey, being empathetic to their challenges. And it's not something you can force down on people. They need to come there and want to actually grow. And once they do, they actually really get excited. And then they create the momentum that you need in the organization to shift. Yeah. And that creates the momentum we need in terms of growing broader adoption, broader capability, but also it protects people in terms of future innovation that's coming towards them. So it really is a powerful tool. But to your point, it does take effort, and it does take care, and it does take time.
Ricardo, thank you very much. Really good chatting to you and to your CEO at group level globally. Satya Nadella's point, what a transformation we're seeing. It's almost like going from 50 over cricket to T20 cricket in terms of the speed and the acceleration of the game of business. Take care.
I love your analogy. Thank you, Michael, and thank you very much for the opportunity. You take care.
That was Ricardo Rosa, Microsoft South Africa Enterprise Commercial Director, talking about digital transformation here on Business Talk on Business Tech.